Karajan not only conducts and selects his singers, but himself directs his films, even to the extent of choosing the camera angles. Karajan's continuously searching out new talents for his films and operas. A young Canadian tenor, David Randall, is about to audition for the role of Tamino in Mozart's Magic Flute.
Do you actually speak German?
A little. I'm just beginning. It's my...
No, your pronunciation very good. Very good. I want to show you something. Oh, yes, I'm very interested in young people, and we have brought out nearly 3 generations of singers today, and we are constantly looking around, and there are great talents.
Das Bildnis ist bezaubernd schön.
See, put all the weight on the expression of schön. Bildnis ist bezaubernd schön. Careful on the attack. You have to attack it. When you have got it, you develop it.
Yeah.
And don't hit it.
No.
Yes.
Das Bildnis ist bezaubernd schön. Wie noch kein Auge je gesehen. Ich fühle es, wie die Götterbild.
Now long.
Mein Herz.
There's an ugly note in. You must feel it, but now you sing as you sang Bohème.
Karajan's latest, and by far his most ambitious project to date, is to make a film of Wagner's massive cycle of operas, The Ring, which would run about 12 hours. In his Salzburg home, Karajan discusses the sketches for Das Rheingold, the first part of The Ring, with his designer. Once again, Karajan is at the controls. Karajan uses such opportunities to put together the best possible combination of artistic resources. He'll make simultaneous recordings, stage performances and films, all using the same artists and facilities to best advantage. With his designs for Das Rheingold, Karajan believes he can place on film all the imagery of forests, underworld and mountaintops that Wagner wrote into his score, with none of the compromises of an opera house stage. Thus, he feels he can do real justice to the composer's vision.
Ich habe nur die Angst, dass man die, wollen wir sagen, die Mechanik des Gegenzustands.
Karajan wants to do everything with the utmost efficiency, and he wants it all in his own hands. When he flies anywhere, he pilots his own jet, even now, aged 70. Yehuda Menuhin has described Karajan as not just another conductor in the great European tradition, but also a leader of men. By this he means that Karajan looks after those around him. He makes sure that his orchestra is the best paid orchestra in Europe. He went personally to the German Senate when he felt their wages were falling behind, and the Senate doubled them the next day. Not surprisingly, he commands extraordinary loyalty, and he'll only work with those he knows best. Nowadays, the Berlin Philharmonic is the one orchestra he'll conduct, and still no women are admitted to its ranks. Karajan has said that if he tried to reach as many people through concerts as he does through his films, then he'd have to play the same piece all the time, every day for 3 lives. In 1973, he came to England to perform Beethoven's 4th and 5th symphonies. Just before leaving Germany, Karajan had been editing his own concert films of those symphonies, and this entailed running back and forth throughout them maybe a couple of 100 times. Yet he found that rather than tiring of the music, the repetitive editing process gave him a whole new insight into it, so that when he performed the symphonies at that concert, rather than finding the music stale, it was, he said, like conducting it for the first time.
And believe me or not, when those 2 symphonies were performed, it was as though they were completely fresh. And I say to a friend, I mean, if you ask me seriously, those pieces are the only 2 in my whole repertoire which I really know. Tell an orchestra, you do something what millions of people are waiting the whole day to do in the evening as their sort of leisure works because they can't find the time. They have to earn their money. And you are paid for it and you can do it. So do it really with the utmost possible perfection you can get out of you. And you see, if one keeps this way, then of course the man in itself becomes better. Because I deplore so many who say, I have to work. Some time ago, I met a conductor on an airport and I said, what are you doing? I said, I must go there to conduct. See, if you say you must, then give it up. You're allowed.